Good morning. So, as always, make sure to pop in, say hi around the other stuff here. Feel free to make comments. This morning, it took me a couple extra minutes just because I had probably 5 different things that I was thinking about sharing, and I decided that this was the one. So I sat here just really trying to get some calling from God, you could say, as to what needed to be shared. So today I'm going to discuss, there's no testimony without the test. And, it really is, we look at, like yesterday we were talking about, not beating yourself up, allowing yourself to be human. And the day before I was dressed as a cow, and we're talking about playfulness. And the gist of everything is consciousness and surrender to your good. It's really surrendering to your good. And I was sitting here and I've got all these books, and Levi, my 12-year-old, was like, "Mom, have you read all those books?" I'm like, "Yeah, read a lot of them. I need to read them over again because it's been years." But there's just so many messages that have come through the years, but the bottom line of all the messages is pretty much what this whole month has been about for these conscious coffees. And it comes down to consciousness and loving yourself enough to give yourself what you really deserve, which is the best, just absolutely best that you can imagine. It's what you're drawn to. It's what you desire. It's what desires you. It's truly what you're here for, is to experience the best possible life that you can probably not even imagine. You can just touch on this a little bit, but with that, we have this thing called the ego, and I call it Satan, I call it the monster, monster exists, all this different stuff, but it's the ego. And there's so many faiths out there that say, become egoless. That's not going to happen. And I can't speak for the afterlife, but I'm pretty confident that through all the spiritual teachings and everything that I have studied over the last 25 years, that we're not going to become egoless. We can learn how to maintain the ego. We can maintain the ego. We can learn how to see it better. We can learn how to appease it. As I call it, it's tossing it a few little crumbs so that it doesn't come and really eat you up and get you. But the ego is there so that we feel more suffering, and this is where you have to get and is that realize that when something embarrassing happens, something upsetting happens, that you have a choice as to which body experiences the suffering, experiences the pain, and that being, is it going to be the ego that takes the hit, or is it going to be the spirit that takes the hit? And here's the thing. The spirit's not going to take the hit unless you allow the ego to run your life. And that means that you're buying into the ego's bullshit, because the ego is illusion land. It really is illusion land. Look at it as Harry Potter land. That's the ego. And it's just not really the majority of the stuff that the ego feeds us is, just, it might work with truth or work with the things that you might want to have, but it will make it feel like you're not going to have it, you're not going to get it. It's going to pull up fear, it's going to pull up doubt, it's going to open up all that negativity, all those things that basically slam the door to your dreams shut for you, at least temporarily. But these things really cause us to feel tested. They feel us to feel tested. It's the ego's purpose. Actually, because the ego, I believe that everything has a reason. Everything has a purpose. Everything is perfect the way it is. And you are where you are because that's where you are and that's where you need to be. So the ego, though, it's there so that we can be tested, and not that God is saying, are you good enough to come and play in my sandbox, heaven? But to to really cleanse ourselves. And it is a cleansing process. So imagine that you have these dark spots, and the dark spots have to be washed off. And the way you wash them off is through tests. So when you come to the test, and if you lean towards the spirit and not towards the ego, so if you lean towards the light, not the dark, right? You actually end up creating miracles. It's in this. I was looking. It's called the. I should have grabbed the book somewhere down there on the bookshelf. Anyways, it's one of Deepak Chopra's little books about the spiritual laws. It's like the 15 spiritual laws of alchemy or something. And the whole book is based on Merlin, and he writes these little nugget chapters. I don't know if it looks like that. Right? It's just these little nugget chapters, and he writes these little nuggets, and he's talking about Merlin and alchemy, and then there's these 15 spiritual laws that he bases basically on Merlin's life and existence and how Merlin did things. And one of the quotes out of the book, I quickly wrote it down, is, if a person gets beyond all limitation, throws off all fear, and realizes the pure spirit inside, that light, then the 7 steps of alchemy have been taken. Gets beyond all limitation, throws off all fear, and realizes the pure spirit inside. Getting beyond all limitation means that you have what was I talking about? A week and a half ago or something? I did this whole morning talk on belief, and then I did another one on obsession, the power of obsession. The only superpower you need is belief. Well, that's getting past limitation, because you have to have this absolutely incredible belief, and that means that you have to be obsessed about what you do, that goal, that dream, that desire, that life that you're running. And it is truly the obsession over that kind of breaks you free from all limitation. So you have to have that really, really burning desire and belief. So when you have that desire and that belief, limitation starts to go away. Remember, the doubt doors are still going to be popping up, and that's the ego. That's Satan just coming in and trying to, derail your training, basically. But as soon as you really go, this is where I'm at, these doubt doors are going to be popping up, and you have a conscious, and here's what I call this conscious coffee, right? This is all about consciousness. So you make a decision to consciously choose to look at what the ego is bringing to you, and take one of those doors and go, do I want to hang out here a little bit? Do I want to just slow my train down and explore this negative city over here? Because it looks really dirty and dingy, but there might be some fun stuff in there. Maybe there's some lessons I need to learn. We do this all the time. We always slow down our train, and we go and we walk through the door of doubt, and the door of fear, and the door of logic, and the door of good reason, and the door of the I'm not good enough, and the door of, well, this is what society does, so it must be right, and the door of this is what I was taught. My parents said I needed to do it this way, so it must be right. And we don't even realize sometimes that we're walking through these doors, but they're programs is what they are. They're the way our mind is wired, and we get stuck in these other tracks instead of on the track that we originally set ourselves to. So every time you move over there, guess what happens? You get tests. And these tests go into purify, which is the second part. Throws off all fear, and realizes the third part, and realizes the pure spirit inside. So tests help us to realize the pure spirit inside. And that is where, when you start to see things for what it really is, when the illusion starts to fall away, and you realize the powerful being that you are, and that pure light inside of you is a flicker of God, it is a flicker of divine, it is a piece of everything, and that piece of everything has the power to manifest exactly what it wants. and exactly what it deserves, which is the best for you, the best for you. And that means that you have to throw away, and then all of a sudden you come back and now you have these testimonies, because as you're going through the test, little miracles happen. And this happens, that happens. And there's so many stories and so many different spiritual teachings about miracles happening in the very last possible second. Very last possible second. And that's exactly how it happens. As we get tested and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, push, push, push. And typically it's not until the very last second that we just go, I give, I give, I surrender, I let go. I'm going to just put that down. I've done everything that I physically possibly can do. There's nothing else in my power that I can do. We are the ones that hold off the miracle by trying to control it, and control it, and control it, and control it. But as we come up to it and we're so full of doubt, we find ourselves, the whole thing is just drop down to your knees. Drop down to your knees and just, hold on, my phone just went and did something. Okay. You just drop down to your knees and surrender. And none of us really know what surrender is. You can say, it's just surrender. And just put it down. Just let it go. Just get into the flow. Like, oh, that sounds easy as can be. And it is easy. But it is a conscious decision of really, truly letting it go and coming back to the belief. Because when we're trying to control something, we're not really believing that God's got our back, that the universe has our back. We're not really believing that a miracle can happen. We're not really believing that there is something else available to us, that our power is in turning over and saying, the only power I really need to exert here, the only thing I need to control here is where I'm emotionally at, what thoughts I am thinking and what things I am feeling. That's the only thing I can control. The rest of it is God's business. The rest of it I have to just let go. And it's typically right before something happens that you just drop down and go, okay, I have done all this stuff, it's like, I've done everything, there's nothing else I can do. And then you let go, and what happens? It happens. Exactly what you have been focusing on and wanting to have happen. And you feel all this pressure, and I think I talked about that a couple of days ago. The pressure that you feel, and that pressure is there, is pushing us and pushing us and pushing us and pushing us to become the diamond that we are, right? It's like we're that piece of coal, and it's pushing, pushing, pushing. That pressure is telling us that our dreams, our goals are right there. But here's what happens. We experience pressure, we experience testing, we experience what we believe that we are our egos, and we take on the pain and the suffering that our ego is trying to make us believe is ours, but it's not. It's just there. It's just there. It's not, and it's how we perceive it. It's not even really pain or suffering. It's how we perceive it. So it's in those moments that if you just go, you know what, I'm going to make the conscious decision to focus in on love, to focus in on that I am a child of God, that I am light, that I am love, that I am deserving. I'm going to focus in on the good things about me. I'm going to focus in on the good things about this world. I'm going to look out, and I'm going to, and one of the other lessons is related from the book I was talking about, Deepak Chopra's book, is that how Merlin you didn't see Merlin all the time in the crowds. You would catch him sometimes just standing up on a mountain, a hill, overlooking everything, and he would just be taking it all in. He would be the witness to life, the witness to the miracle, the witness to creation, the witness to the suffering. And here's the thing, we have that ability, and I refer to this, I love this statement, because people always look at me, what the hell are you talking about? So I'll say, I was just being the witness. I was just being witnessed. And there's a space inside of you that where your mouth is going and you feel all this tension maybe in your body and all this frustration. Maybe let's say you're in a fight with your spouse or somebody and you're arguing and you're bickering and you're just like, oh my gosh, like everything's blowing up. Everything's blowing up. And your mouth is going go, 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 and you can't believe some of the stuff that's coming out and you haven't even really paid attention to some of the stuff that's coming out of your mouth. And then all of a sudden consciousness steps in. And there's this little voice back here. And it's going, wow, did you just say that out loud? Did you just tell that person that? Did you really? And that was really mean. That was really this. But the voice is just like, I don't fucking care, right? And it's still just, you're in the middle of the battle. You were battling. That's the ego doing this. This little quiet voice back here that's trying to be sound reason in that moment of you need to breathe. You need to step away. You need to, put yourself on timeout. You need to try to just, you do understand what that person's going through. You do feel that. Express how you feel inside instead of what you think is going to be the lowest blow possible. That little voice that is trying to be the voice of reason is also noticing the pain that the other person is in, the pain that you are in, the bigger scope of things. That's the witness. That's the witness. Every time you gain this amount of consciousness in the midst of some ego battle, it's your witness. And guess what the witness is? The witness is your spirit. The witness is you. The witness is the you that can make everything happen. It's your truth. It is the one that you need to just go, oh, okay, I'm going to listen to the witness. Right? It's that beautiful music playing in the background that really truly gets life and gets how things really are instead of what we are perceiving. But the witness is there so that the witness can actually see and provide the testimony that the ego is going to bring to you. Because the ego will get you into these awesome little situations that are not so fun most of the time. They're not so fun. They might start out fun, but the result is that you're going to get a lesson. And, it really is that those miracles, those great testimonies come in the very last possible second. And you've got to be able to consciously move to that witness status. And here's how you do it. You're going to become conscious of this little voice, especially now. Anybody who's watching this, all of a sudden you're going to have something happen probably today and over the holidays especially. And hopefully you hear me saying something about the witness. That's all you need. That's it. Just that little flicker of, hey, I was listening to us talk and she said something about a witness. If that just pops up in your head and all of a sudden this little voice, your attention is going to go from what your ego is putting out to this calmness that you have, this knowing that you have, this beauty that you have inside, and even the ickiest of moments, you have this and that witness, and then you're going to put your consciousness on the witness. And guess what? It's going to completely diffuse the situation. Because in that moment, you become presently active in being this part of the solution instead of being part of the problem. And building your testimony as to the power that you truly have inside of you. And you get to watch this beautiful thing change in front of you. And yes, even the most negative thing is a beautiful thing. And it's because of the potential that's there. There's so much potential. And the greatest of things occur out of the darkness. Because when you can take something that is seeming so dark and so nasty, and you can transform it, here's the alchemy, right? Take the darkness and turn it into light. So turn it into a blessing. And that is all through becoming the witness. Becoming the witness and seeing that what is happening in front of you is nothing more than a test so that you have a strong testimony as to how beautiful your spirit is. Hey, Michael, the power within, beautiful messages for me. Thank you, Michael. And it really, really is about, like he says, the power within. It is the power within, because the power within is your spirit. It is that peace of God, my little ones. upstairs yelling. Everybody's gonna wake up this morning. It's gone on 6:30, so but it is really about embracing that and seeing it for what it is and leaning more into that, because it is that leaning into the witness, it is that accepting of the test, that you know that that test is there to create your testimony, to help you build your faith, to help you build your belief, to help you build burning desire and become obsessed about what you claim you want, about your highest and greatest good. And that is what I hope you're going for, is something that is your highest and greatest good, because that is exactly what you deserve. You deserve the best. You deserve the best. And allowing yourself to have the best is the trickiest of all lessons, because the ego has you believing that you don't deserve it. So really look at the ways that you might be saying no to yourself today, this week, this month. Where are you not accepting your greatness? Where are you denying your joy, your bliss, your beauty, your goodness? Where are you not forgiving yourself for being human? Now, like yesterday, that was what yesterday was all about. It's talking about really just allowing yourself to be human, because you're not going to have every single day being fantastic. And it's okay. It is okay. The thing there is that you have to really figure out if you're setting out camp and in the land of negativity, or if you're just passing through occasionally. Okay? Just like, hey. And so make up your mind as to, as to if you want to really have what you want, which means accepting your goodness, accepting your highest and your greatest good, and keeping your train on the tracks that you choose to create, keeping your train on the tracks of greatness, of glory, of grace, of beauty, of blessing, because that is your conscious decision. That witness is there to help you keep your tracks right where you want them, the train on the tracks that you want. Don't allow yourself to get derailed too much. But understand that when you do get derailed, that you're building a testimony. You're building a testimony. And that's the power of the spirit there, and that you actually need those tests, because the more, early on and in different parts of our life, we're going to build tests about different things. So really just look at them as that. Every single test you have is just a testimony being built. It is a testimony to your greatness. It is a testimony to the universe's, God's greatness. It is a testimony to the miracles that are right there in front of you. And the pressure that you are feeling, that pressure that you're feeling, that frustration, the negativity, the fear. Remember, there's only two emotions, love and fear. If it's not coming from a place of love, which means love and blessings and all that good stuff, then it's coming from a place of fear. That's that overwhelm, that negativity, the anger, the resentment, the bitterness, and the holdback, the allowing your tracks to bump on you, right? You're falling off the track in a moment. Guilt, shame, all of those things are really coming from the place of fear, which is ego. And ego trying to give you a test. So you keep getting a certain test. Pay attention to the test. Make a commitment to yourself that you're going to get the lesson, so that you can have the testimony, so that your train can stay on the tracks where you want to go, instead of sitting over here in this land without need to check out all these villages again and again and again. Okay, so get your lesson and get your train back on the tracks that you want. I was making some notes over here. Oh, I mean, there's a note that I made. It may be so on this little note here, as to, like, if you're getting stuck in negativity a lot, it may be a clue to the fact that you aren't loving yourself enough to give yourself what you truly deserve. So realize that, again, a lot of the times, and a lot of the stuff that I've discussed is that self-love and acceptance of yourself, and really, to give yourself the love that you deserve means that you're going to allow the floodgates of blessing to open up, to allow God to really bless you with everything that you possibly can imagine and then some, because you think that you've got, what you want for blessings, but there is so much more out there. But you have to be willing to open up to loving yourself, to receiving it, because when you go down the land of frequency, if you do not love yourself, then you're vibrating at a low frequency, a low vibration. And when we apply love to ourselves, we operate at higher frequencies, higher frequencies, higher frequencies. And that means that all the things that we want are typically vibrating up here. So we have to go to it, because what we are wanting isn't going to come down to us. That's not how it works. It's vibrating where it is. We make the conscious decision to increase our vibration, which means that we have to really work on loving self, which means forgiveness of self, which means letting yourself be human every now and then, which means really, really tapping into what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, and being consciously aware as to that GPS system that's taking you, which is your feelings. Okay, go back and watch. I've done lots of talks on GPS system, which being your feelings, because your feelings really do dictate you to you every single day, every single moment. If your train is on the tracks that you want them to be on, or if they're starting to derail, or if they have fully derailed. So really pay attention to that. But if you find yourself constantly derailing, then your issue really is that you're having self-love issues, self-acceptance issues. It's not anything else out there. It's about loving yourself, because you are not accepting yourself and embracing yourself, embodying yourself, as I love to say. You're not fully embodying yourself in love, and that's going to keep you derailing. So if you keep feeling like you're derailing and you're hitting this wall and you're derailing, you hit this wall and something goes wrong and you derail and you hit a wall, come back to the self-love. And I think that's about it for this morning. Everybody was pretty quiet. I see a lot of people on, but anybody got any questions, any comments, anything? Are you guys awake? Sleeping? Drooling? Mad? Love? Okay, I'll accept that. Drink more coffee. Drink more coffee. Or, hey, it's the holidays. Put a little bit of lemon in the coffee. No, not really. All right, Addison just gave me a thumbs up for that. That maybe she means that she's going to put some lemon in the coffee. So, okay, guys. I will catch you tomorrow at 6 a.m. Who knows what the topic will be. Like I say, I keep it pretty organic and in the moment, so I don't figure it out until I'm pouring my coffee or after the fact. Please share this message for me today on your pages with your friends. Help me get Conscious Coffee up and going. I'm really feeling like it might be a 2018 just daily event for the most part during the week. So I'd like to keep it going. I've had pretty good response to everything, but it would really be helpful if everybody who's listening, if you just hop the share button onto your page about this message. And conscious coffees are going to be more spiritual based with everything, just because I'm a firm believer that we need to embody ourselves. We have to embrace every aspect of ourselves, which means that we need to fully embrace our physical self. We also need to embrace the spiritual aspect of ourselves too. And it doesn't get talked enough about. And it is at the core of all my teachings for the last 20 years. It's definitely my foundation. I always come back to spirit and back to consciousness and being the witness and everything I'm really teaching and sharing over this last month. So help me spread that message. Please just hit the share button, okay? And make sure that if you're thinking about something during the day, if a message that you've got a question, or just have something that happened, a miracle that happened or something, do me a favor and pop back on here and share it, because it is just nice to see the people are getting something, and like Michael shared, it's just having that little bit of recognition there as to, hey, this is what happened. Recognize yourself, recognize your miracles, and share the good stuff on here. Okay. So I will catch you tomorrow at 6 a.m. with another conscious coffee, and I hope that you